All right, so like Trent said, okay, so I guess I should go back here to this page. There we go. Whoa. So that's what it looks like when it's factored. Right? Now, some of you are starting to cancel stuff now. And there's nothing that can be canceled right now anyway. All right? If there was an x plus 3 up top, with, but again, in order to cancel though, what symbol would be there? What? Multiply, right? This is subtraction. To subtract, we have to have a common denominator. You guys all know that, right? So that's what we're finding. We're trying to find the common denominator. So I got this denominator on the left, this denominator on the right. What's my common denominator going to be?
X plus 3, x minus 3.
Yeah, whatever shows up, write it down. Remember?
Yeah.
So you need both x minus 3 and x plus 3. Since x plus 3 showed up a second time, I don't have to write it a second time. If it shows up, you write it down, and you don't have to write it down more than once. So, there's my original denominator. Here's the common denominator. There's nothing different, right? So you do nothing to the top. And remember, we don't do any factoring of numerators until the end, right? After we subtract or add. Okay? So some of you pulled out the 2 there and factored that. You did it, you factored it correctly, but you don't factor yet the numerators, just the denominators. So here's my original denominator. What did I do to it? What do I need to do to it? I multiplied by x minus 3, so I have to multiply the top by x minus 3. Whatever you do to the bottom, you got to do the top, right? That's why those x minus 3s are there. Now, how do I multiply x plus 5 and x minus 3? You got to FOIL it, right? I don't know if they did it here or not. They just did it like that, okay? But this becomes x squared minus 3x plus 5x minus 15. So you're subtracting each one of those, okay? The negative 3x plus 5x is 2x, right? So this negative sign or this minus sign makes x squared negative. It makes the positive 2x negative, and it makes the negative 15 what? Minus the negative 15 is plus 15, right? So I think that's as far as they went on this side. Maybe not. There we go. Oh, that's what they did. So they did simplify. So again, that minus sign makes that a minus x squared, a minus 2x, and a plus 15. And that's what's on the next slide here. Minus x squared minus 2x plus 15. Now they're combining like terms. What's 2x squared minus x squared? X squared. What's a negative 30 plus 15? Negative 15. So that's what we have right now. Okay. On our quiz Thursday, we're going to have this type of problem. Okay. 2. Like this. We have to find the common denominator. Rewrite your fractions with the common denominator. FOIL what you have to do or distribute whatever you have to do. Combine like terms. Get it to a single fraction. Now I can do what to the numerator? Now I can factor. Now's the time to factor numerator. So I might be able to simplify this fraction to get it in lowest terms. And it factors to x plus 3 and an x minus 5. Positive 3 times negative 5 is negative 15. And positive 3 minus 5 is the negative 2, right? And you can see now you have an x plus 3 in the top and the bottom. They'll cancel out. So there's my final answer. Now, What are the values where it's undefined? What values of x make it undefined? Right, 3 and -3, both of those. Remember, whatever was in your common denominator, those are the restrictions on the variable. All right, 3 and -3. All right. So we haven't done one of those for, since last week. I wanted to remind you that that type of problem is going to be on our quiz. Any questions on any part of that? Okay, so we factored first the denominator, whatever we could. Whatever shows up, we wrote down for the common denominator. And we rewrote both fractions if we needed to. The first fraction we didn't have to rewrite. Okay? All right, homework answers. I think I have. What do we do? 20 to 30 even, right? I think I have some pictures of some answers here. Let me see. There would be 20, 22, 24. All right. So there's 20 and 22. So your asymptotes, x equals -6. That's a vertical asymptote. Y equals 0 is your horizontal asymptote. And the domain is all real numbers except all x values except -6. And range is all y values except 0. 22, your vertical asymptote is 4. Your horizontal asymptote is -1. Domain, all values of x but 4. And range, all values of y but -1. 24, you had two zeros, -4 and +2. That's what makes the top, the numerator, 0, right? Vertical asymptote is what makes the bottom 0, which was 1. And then there's the graph. Again, I'm not going to make you graph on your quiz. Right, Sydney? You're just going to have to find zeros, vertical asymptotes, horizontal asymptotes, holes if there's any holes. Okay? But you don't have to graph anything. All right, so that's those three. Let me find the other answers. 26, 28, and 30. There they are, those top three there. So the zeros for 26 are -1 and +2. Again, those are points. That's where the graph crosses the x-axis. -1, +2. All right. Vertical asymptote is x equals 1. And there is no horizontal asymptote. For 28, the zeros are at -1/2. 0, that's where it crosses the x-axis. The vertical asymptotes are -1 and +1. And then there's a horizontal asymptote at -2. We must have had the same degree, top and bottom, and then the top leading coefficient might have been -2 and the bottom 1. And then number 30, we must have had an x minus 1 in the top and the bottom that we cancel out. And that left us a hole at 1. And it looks like the graph, the numerator was just -x on the top. So that's the graph of y equals -x with a hole at 1. And our 0 is at 0 because it went through the origin. Okay, any of those you want me to go over to see how we got those answers? where you might have had a question mark or anything.
How do you find out?
How do you find a hole?
Yeah.
All right, well, let's look at number 30 then. Olivia Carr,
Yeah,
what was the problem with number 30?
f of x equals negative x squared plus x over x minus one.
Thanks. Okay, so we have to factor the numerator. Is there a GCF? Yeah, x, right? And we don't like that negative in front of the x squared, so we like to pull it out, right? So I'm gonna take out negative x. And then I'll get x minus 1 over x minus 1. Right? If I pull out a negative x squared divided by negative x is positive x. Positive x divided by negative x is negative 1. So we see an x minus 1 in the top and the bottom, right? So if you get the same factor, top or bottom, that you can cancel, that means there's a hole, right? Whatever makes that 0. So if I put a 1 in for that x, 1 minus 1 gives me 0. Okay? So to graph it, you're just graphing y equals negative x. What's my slope? What? Negative 1. What's my y-intercept? 0, right? There's nothing after, right? Remember, we're thinking about y equals mx plus b to graph it, right? So this is, if I wrote it out like this, it'd be negative 1x plus 0, right? Those two are the same. You guys realize that, right? So then to graph it, would be start at 0, go down 1 and over 1, right? For negative 1, down 1 over 1. And then under the 1, you put a hole there, a circle, to show the hole. Right? But again, I am not asking you to graph on the quiz. I'm just asking you to find all the different asymptotes. Okay? Any other questions? Okay. So I have a practice quiz for you to do for homework today. We'll go over it tomorrow, and then the quiz is Thursday. And then Friday I'll have some kind of bonus extra credit loop for you to do. All right? Any questions? All right, so you've got 20 minutes. I bet you could get it done. So don't waste this time.